It was 6:30 a.m. The winter sun slipped past the blinds, casting soft lines across David's face. He blinked, but didn't move. The silence was off. No shouting, no footsteps, just stillness. Then a knock. Not the usual bark from the sergeant. Just a knock, followed by a quiet, restrained voice. "Private Dawkins, you've been reassigned. Bring your things." His hands trembled as he dressed. Not because of fear, but because he already knew. They didn't say it, but he heard the threat behind the calm tone. Cooperate, and this will go smoothly. Disobey, and, well, no one disobeyed. As the van door shut behind him, David faced his first unspoken dilemma. Protect himself by giving them what they wanted, or hold on to his truth and risk whatever came next. Lured and taken. The ride was long, tense. No one spoke. The guards didn't look at him. The road narrowed. Far from the base now. Eventually, they arrived at Voortrekkerhoek Military Hospital. Stockweiss. Empty corridors. A nurse handed David a clipboard and said, "Evaluation protocol. Just answer honestly. It'll make things easier." But a soldier standing nearby leaned in and muttered, "If you're smart, you'll say what they want to hear. Don't fight it." That was the first moment David realized. This wasn't an evaluation. It was something else, something darker. He wasn't here for help. He was here for correction. So the real question became, keep pretending to be the man they wanted, or let them break him until he fit their mold? What was the Aversion Project? The Aversion Project was a secret program run by the South African Defense Force during the apartheid era. Its purpose? To eliminate homosexuality from the military. Not through support or understanding, but through fear, violence, and medical coercion. Men like David were identified, sometimes through letters, rumors, anonymous tips, and brought in under vague orders. Inside these clinics, they faced electroshock therapy, forced drug treatments, and even hormone injections. It was framed as rehabilitation, but it was punishment designed to erase who they were. One young man remembered a doctor telling him, "You were born wrong. We're giving you a chance to be normal." For David, every day in that hospital came with a cost. Act normal and survive, or resist and risk vanishing altogether. Dr. Aubrey Levin. At the center of it all stood Dr. Aubrey Levin, a military psychiatrist who believed he was saving these men from themselves. He used electric shocks on genitals and thighs while showing them same-sex imagery. He administered drugs that induced nausea while playing recordings of male voices. David once overheard a medic joke, "It's like training a dog, just pain until they stop reacting." One evening, after a session, a technician looked at David and sighed. "Don't cry. That only makes them write more reports. They'll think it's working." In that sterile white room, David faced a twisted choice: suffer until he broke, or learn to perform the part they demanded. The victim's silence. Eventually, David was released. No ceremony, no explanation, just silence. He was told, "You're lucky to be going home." Most don't. And then the final warning, "Don't speak of this. Ever." So he didn't. Neither did the others. Some never came home. Some were discharged and labeled unfit. Others disappeared into mental institutions, or worse. Even years later, when asked by a friend why he didn't report what happened, David simply said, "You think they would listen? They built the room." What haunted him most wasn't the pain. It was the pressure to vanish quietly, as if he never existed. The doctor's fate. When apartheid ended, the system began to collapse. But the Aversion Project wasn't part of any public trial. It never became national news. Dr. Levin left South Africa and settled in Canada. There, he continued to practice psychiatry. Years later, he was finally exposed, not for what he did during the Aversion Project, but for sexually abusing male patients in his Canadian clinic. A former conscript, hearing the news, said bitterly, he started over. We never got that chance. For the men left behind, justice wasn't just delayed, it was denied. David's truth. David never spoke about what happened. Not publicly, not even to his sister. He lived quietly, worked an office job, and passed away in 1995. But in his belongings, she found a notebook, pages filled with half-finished thoughts. One entry stood out. They wanted to erase me. Not kill me, just make me forget who I was. But I didn't forget. I remember everything, and I know I was never broken. He never got to say those words aloud, but now we can. The Aversion Project wasn't a rumor. It wasn't exaggerated. It happened, sanctioned by doctors, enforced by soldiers, and hidden by history. Today, we speak their names. We remember their pain. We refuse to let this story disappear. If you found David's story important, share it. Help break the silence. Because remembering is a form of justice.